Nickolaus Bauer is standing by. Nickolaus, we found you at last. Good afternoon. What are you seeing there?
Oh yes, good afternoon to you, Stephen. Hopefully you can hear me this time around. The horse trading has officially begun. Talks of coalitions have kicked off. And with the election result that we've had, I mean, notwithstanding the rather poor turnout by voters themselves, first time in democratic history we've seen the ANC nationally drop below 50%. And there's a fair amount of hung councils. Now, you can't get past the fact that the ANC may have lost support this election, but they still have the overwhelming lion's share of votes and a lot of power that comes with it. So let's try and find out from the current Deputy Secretary General of the ANC, Jessie Duarte. She joins us now. Thanks very much. I understand it's been a very, very busy time.
Yes, it is.
How are you feeling, day 3 now?
I think we've decided just to keep an optimistic perspective on the results. I can tell you that we did good research. Maybe at the end of last year, we looked at issues. We knew that we would have a softening of our vote in local government. We changed our tactic and went into a strategic perspective of actually having community select their own ward councillors. That was one of the things we picked up as we went out to our people. The questions of water, the questions of electricity had already begun then. And in 2019, interestingly enough, I had forgotten this. Just before the elections, there was also a whole spate of blackouts. So that is cause for concern. But nevertheless, the question that we understand has really put the backs up of the ANC voter has been the electricity cuts, especially in areas like Soweto, where Eskom has cut indiscriminately. So in a block of 10 people, if 2 people don't pay, all 10 are cut. And that's caused quite a huge issue. We also understand that that's relative to the debt that Eskom, that the global debt of Soweto to Eskom, but I think there needs to be another look at that. So firstly, it is that. Secondly, the COVID issues have been quite top of mind in the minds of many people who stayed away. But lastly, complaints about service delivery. So we also undertook a renewal process of the ANC itself. You start there. You always start with your party first to renew it, and then look at what are the impingements for transformation. And we're clear that as the ANC, we are renewing ourselves to deliver better to the people, but also to make sure that there's no compromise in honesty. So every ward councillor must tell people what it is they're doing, what will happen in the budget, when it will happen, if it cannot happen, why not? So those have been the imperatives for us. I think it's some people are asking us to weep and cry, and we're not. We're saying this is a moment for us to reflect and to look at how we can move upward and do much, much better, as our president has been saying consistently. And you can only reflect if you're honest about what the issues are that you face. And I think we've understood extremely well what we face.
So, Ms. Duarte, we'll get back to that in a second about whether or not the ANC still thinks it's on a winning track in terms of the reform, whether or not you'll win back this support, or are we seeing the beginning of a slow decline. I want to find out now, though. I mean, it's of course awkward. You don't want to start negotiating coalitions on TV.
No.
But I want to find out from you, what are the red lines for the ANC? What are the no-nos about going into a coalition with a party? What are the things you're looking for?
Yeah, what we're looking for are partners that have more or less similar objectives to our own. It would have to be a transformation of our society, building a non-racial South Africa, but above all, service delivery to the people that is affordable to them. Also developing the economy at a fundamental level, local economies, and we're talking in the perspective of local government, deepening our democracy, aligning ourselves fully with a constitutional democracy and the rule of law. So, I mean, there are parties that are similar to us, but have very different orientations. Our view is that we need to discuss this openly as the ANC. So we put up a team of people. Amongst them are experts in local government and people who understand coalition governments very well. And this team has been working to look at what the possibilities are. But, you know, it's all up in the air because
it's very, very early days.
We're waiting for the results. Yes.
But, Ms. Duarte, I'd like to ask as a final question, though. I mean, you don't get everything that you want in a negotiation, right? I mean, a good sign of a deep negotiation is all parties are at least a little bit unhappy.
Yeah.
One or two of the things that we have heard from a number of parties is parties must be willing to change a little bit. And one of the things that have come up with the ANC has been the aspect of cadre deployment. I mean, that remains an ANC
That comes directly from the DA, who also does cadre deployment, by the way. You know,
DA and Action SA.
Yeah, also does cadre deployment. We've had experience with the same person running our city, and cadre deployment was very much the order of the day. You know, making a demand of a governing party not to have people who understand its rudimentary policies taken out and replaced with people who are just in general there, I think is a bit of a stretch. Of course, this comes out of the Zondo Commission, and the DA, as you know, have been very vocal and have been demanding all manner of minutes from the ANC. But anyway, let's put that aside. We don't want to be petty. We have a cadre deployment policy. That policy does not exclude any South African. All that policy does, it says that at a particular level, people must understand that South Africa cannot go backwards, that we cannot have the pale male perspective in our country.
Or it be the only perspective.
And that is the, you know, and also looking at a mix of things, looking at people for their competence, and looking at them that they understand what the policy is meant to do. Not that they write the policies, but that they understand what the policy is meant to do. So, yes, we can be criticized, and we're open to that criticism. We're not running from it. We're saying we're willing to discuss that. But would other parties be willing to change? We will see. You see, we are still discussing. We have this team, they're meeting tonight, Thursday night again. They report to the extended NWC. We'll have a big discussion on Friday. And then we will start negotiating directly with people, not through the media. We're not going to lobby via the media. I think that's dangerous. The media has shown that they have preferences and strange biases. So we're not going to do that. We're not going to use the media as a partner, you know. You can be a partner in many other things, but not in this one.
Ms. Duarte, thank you very much for your time, being such a good sport on Newzroom Afrika. Well, not giving much away, the Deputy Secretary General of the ANC there. But, yeah, I suppose this is what it is at this point in time, viewers. Wait and see. Wait for those final results, and then to see the horse trading begin in earnest.